All right, yeah, got the engine out at 2.0. Brought it over here, Steve, and then figured whatever we'd sit down with the fire here and have a little chat about drag week.
That's like a fireside chat.
So, well, this was, you're the one called. I never even counted. So this was our 10th.
Yeah.
Do you know if that was accurate or not? Or were you just spewing?
No, I don't know.
Gotcha.
I was just spitting out useless information.
So,
but no, I think it is because I figured. I think it was 2013 we did everything good. 2012 we failed with 1.0.
broken rocker arms.
And then 2011 was really the first year with the burial ground car that I was involved with. And then we missed 1 year because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah. So that makes it 10 years.
2010, I did it with the Indian burial ground car with Rick. So Krabby Rick at the shop, you see in the background a lot. So Rick did it with me. That's before he was Krabby.
You call him
he was
Krabby
still,
Rick?
He was still Krabby then. Rick knows he's Krabby. So in that one, 50 miles because of improper, not knowing how the valve lash, because that was
I didn't have a valve lash video at the time.
Yeah, there wasn't anything to watch, but that was I won't even name the name of the person that helped with the valve lash, which is the reason. I mean, a true long-term dragon driver that helped us valve lash it wrong, telling us that's how you did it.
Oh,
But,
look, this one's like a 1/4 inch off. We'll just tighten it down.
But
Or
either way,
up.
50 miles from the final track, if we actually never would have taken the valve covers off, then
Nope.
we would have finished and everything would have been okay. But we did make the mistake of pulling the valve covers off, and that was the end of it. But then, so then 2011 was actually, it was the mule motor in the Indian burial ground car because we pushed the pushed the thrust bearing like 3 weeks before the event, and because of that, made the stupid mistake of saying, well, is the new engine almost ready? Because we can just put that in there and then everything will be fine versus fixing the one that was in there. So in hindsight, we should have fixed what was in there because the new engine was never in the car. So therefore the cooling wasn't right. And I wasn't that fighting. Like we couldn't get the thing to run cool no matter what. Like it just ran hot all the time.
Oh, it ran hot all the time. It was terrible.
So we did everything we could to try and keep that thing cool. But we did finish that year. Well, actually, we finished that year because I just told somebody this story. Yeah, exactly. Was in the staging lanes with the car, ready to go, and then the event rained out, and then the car wouldn't start. So we ended up having to tow it back to the pits. So we did finish because the event got rained out. It was in the staging lanes. It's just that's the last time it started. I don't even know what was wrong.
Yep.
But either way, then that moved into 1.0. For 2012, and we ran out of rocker arms. So, because it kept breaking rocker arms, right?
Yeah.
It was all aluminum rocker arms or something.
Yeah, that was figuring out the valve train on that.
So, and then we had them overnighted to us at the track after we were out, and then somebody gave us a ride back to the track or brought the car back, and then overnighted, and then we made our first 6-second pass the last day as an exhibition pass.
Yeah, no, it didn't go 6. I thought it went 7:10.
Did it?
Yeah, it was a 7:10 or 7:0 or something. But it was I think that was the day that Chuckles made the 6-second pass. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exhibition pass.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that was that, and then 2013, that was Dave Hocus went up. Car had still barely back together in time to go to the event, and then Dave Hocus went up and went like 684, I believe, and we're like, oh, we're in trouble. Car hadn't even been a 6-second pass yet, and then we went up and went 672. So first pass on
the
Monday.
trailer. That's the year I called the golden year. That was showed up untested. In fact, we had I think we had the converter or something out of it before we literally put it in the trailer. Oh, that's right.
The converter was wrong, or we thought it was wrong. Oh, and that's it. So then we got a converter from Pro Torque. They sent it to us. We put it in there and put it in the trailer.
Yeah, put it in the trailer and took off. And so we go there and thought we were going to get our butts handed to us, and the car goes out and it goes fastest it's ever gone, 670s. And so from that point on, we probably said 5 words to each other the entire week, because you don't want don't talk about it. Just it's like, just putting everything together and get in the car and take off and you make it to the first stop and it's like,
what made it that far?
Don't say nothing. And did not say anything about. This is the golden rule. Don't ever say.
Don't be a Bert.
Yeah, yeah. Don't come up. Oh, you're doing pretty good so far. You haven't broke yet. What would you ever say that for?
You can't talk about stuff like that.
You don't talk about stuff like just shh, don't say nothing.
It hears you.
Yeah. So we said nothing, and it was also the golden year because we went there 100%. I still think we do drag week legit. The only other people that are extreme legit are Dave and John. They do. I mean, they're working on themselves. They don't really have people helping them. Sometimes they bring a couple guys, but don't really do nothing. We usually don't bring anybody, and we're usually doing it ourselves. And that year in particular, did it all ourselves. Drive there on the tires that we raced on. Never changed the tires.
Right.
Drove away. Go 6 as we were first to do that. Didn't have one single problem. Nothing.
Yeah, first to run the 6 every day. And that year was super hot. Like that was so hot. That's the one where we used to go in the coolers. Every stop, we'd go in the beer cooler and just sit on the cases of beer for like 15 minutes and then go out and get the car ready and then move to the next stop.
Yep.
And when he talks about legit, like we don't travel with anybody. Like, I mean, we end up around people, but it's different people every day. Like we don't say, hey, we're all leaving the track or whatever now. Let's all go as a gang or whatever to leave. Like we just, when we're ready, we leave and we just motor on our own. So there's nothing wrong with people traveling in groups. I mean, we've done it here and there. The problem is that every time a car's got a problem,
everybody
10 people stops. And inherently you're going to have a problem. So now it's like all it is stop. And we just want to get to the place we're going as quickly as possible. And if we're around other people, then now we got not only the stops we have to make, we have the stops that 9 other cars have to make. So we've always just kind of done lone wolf, that we just go out and drive and that's it. We end up with this people in the morning, these people in the afternoon, these people in the evening, like different people throughout the day, depending on where everybody stopped at. So that's what he means by like just not even in a group, not even a posse or whatever. So, that was, that was 13. And we were dead set on that because I remember at, where were we at? It might've been St. Louis that, because we went a 6 Bowling Green. I think we went to Indy from there, went a 6 and
we struggled to go a 6. So we were going like 7.0s, a couple of the tracks.
Well,
we would make
that was
like
only
3.
once, I think. That was St. Louis, I think, because I think Indy we went there, and it went like
it went fast there.
Yeah, it went fast, and then stuck the tire, or whatever. But I remember like later, after the event was over, we're like, man, I wish we would have made another run at Indy because the track was so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the tracks I think we made 3 or 4 passes because we were doing like 7.0, and we were dead set to run a 6 every day because that hadn't been done. A 6 average hadn't been done, and a 6 every day hadn't been done. So I think it was St. Louis. I don't know what track it was. We made 3-4 passes to get the 6 in, even though we were in a decent lead, just to be able to get the 6. So, and then last day back at Bowling Green, that's when it blew the door off. We were going to make another pass, but then we didn't have a door. So, but that was 13.
That was 13.
14 was oil. We won't name the brand of oil, but in hindsight, we do know that it was the oil was the problem.
Yeah, epic failure.
So, but day 2, we made a pass, and that was it. We had a guy, Ron was actually getting on a plane in Wisconsin with a cylinder head to bring it to us in Oklahoma or wherever we were, and then that's when figured out the block was hurt too. But then that ended the week or whatever there in 14.
Yep.
15 was first year for 2.0. So Steve had like different plans or whatever for that, so he actually didn't show up.
Yeah. But, I had a motocross wreck, and I broke my neck at C1, C2, and my back at T6, T7, and a brain injury. So if I don't remember your name, it's because I legit can't remember your freaking name. So I actually have problems with names and not with faces, but I have a problem with names, and I don't have a problem with numbers, but I do with names every once in a while.
I have a problem with names all the time. I don't even have an excuse, but
it's a different.
But either way, we went to go see Steve. Before leaving, and he's strapped to the bed, and like literally, you got to stand over him and look at him because he's just like. And then, but Ryan, who's now at Holly, used to work for Steve before he went to Holly, and so Ryan was my co-pilot on that, and so 2015 first year 2.0. I mean, we won the event. It wasn't a very good outing of it, but we had what do we have? We had valve sticking, and we actually at Plimpton's shop on day 3 or something. We ended up pulling both heads off. Getting the valve seats opened up, or the
valve guides.
The guides opened up and put it back together, and then we were able to finish that week. So, and that was Ryan and I. So that was the first year. 15, 16, and that was with the mule motor. So that was basically the motor out of 1.0 was in 2.0, or duplicate motor to it. And then 16 was the first year of the billet motor, made by somebody else. But that one's now a coffee table at my garage because it didn't last long.
Yeah, that was a. There's been several terrible experiences. So that was one of them. So that block broke the. You can show that block broke the center 2 bulkheads out of it. Just pulled them right out. Did it pull it right out? Yeah.
Yeah, broke them right off.
Broke them right off. And
so
we were not
with the cap still attached to it.
Yeah, with the cap still attached to it. We were not leaning on that thing hard yet at all. So, you started it now. Now the dog is like gonna be persistent. I'll have to go lock him in the office.
So, but that was 16, and then 17. I don't know what we broke, but same thing. We broke stuff in 17.
No, didn't we? So usually win in odd years.
Yeah, it was until 17, because then we broke in 16 and 17.
Oh yeah,
so I don't know what we broke in 17. I don't remember. I don't know.
No,
that wasn't that block anymore. That was the 5-inch block.
That was it was still a 5-inch. Yeah, that's right. So it's still the 5-inch billet motor. So that whole billet motor stuff is the whole reason why I have the whole SMX now, is because we're trying to build these water jacketed one-off engines, and the problem was parts break. They're gonna break, and then the stuff is one-off, and you can't just fix it. You just can't put new stuff in it. So that's why I have all this SMX stuff now, to where I have room over here that's full of parts, cranks, rods, pistons, cylinder heads. I mean, we brought a spare cylinder head this time. Did all of that. So in 2017, it broke at St. Louis, and it knocked a
rod came apart.
Rod came apart, yeah, and they had the titanium rods on it then too. I don't use those anymore either, but not because they're not good, just because really expensive to screw up.
Yeah, I don't even remember what caused that failure, but either way, then 18, on to 18. 18, we actually had both cars in the trailer. We had 1 and 2 in the trailer. We actually, in 18, we only planned to do a couple days of the event. I don't know why. A couple days of the event, then we were going to Shakedown to run 2.0 at Shakedown, because 2.0 had never been completely sorted out, so therefore we were trying to make it fast, and but we ended up with 1.0. Then you get involved in the event, and then you're like, okay, well, we need to just let's just finish it, and then we'll go to Shakedown. And so that was the hurricane year. So that's actually when we drove into the hurricane. Everybody's evacuating North Carolina, and all you see is drag week cars driving into North Carolina when everybody else is leaving to go race. And
that's all those cool pictures of the car driving in the rain.
Yeah, that's one that Wes took that shows the car. Like, I mean, and that's not. There's people who are like, oh, that's staged. That's a staged picture. It's not a staged picture. That was real. There's other pictures Wes has, like with cardboard over top the car, trying to keep. I don't even know why you were trying to keep water out of it. But
yeah, I know.
Like,
it's a
we're driving in a foot of water.
It's a pet peeve, and it's like we stop at Dollar General for something. Oh, it's because
it was raining.
It's raining so freaking hard. It's like, and I'm out there covering up the engine with cardboard.
So out of the recycle bin.
Out of the recycle bin. Just because it just bothers me. But yeah, so like that picture, people go, "Oh, see, the window's open." Freaking right, the window's open.
It's all steaming up inside.
You can't see anything, so freaking water's pouring all over you from inside, outside. It's just, it was.
But,
even the dog knows it was bad. Yep. He wasn't even there. He wasn't even alive then.
But that's two, and then that's when we got to that was North Carolina or whatever. What's North Carolina track? The big track in Charlotte.
Z-Max.
Z-Max. So Z-Max is where push a ring landing in it. So,
So 1.0's engine was really old at that point in time. So it had already competed in it would have been 14, 15. It would have run. And then we didn't do anything with it, so it just sat, and then we just pull it out of the mothballs. And the car was running really good. It was going 6s every day. It wasn't a big deal, doing the whole normal drag and drive event for 1.0. And makes one pass at Z-Max, and it smokes at the end. And I go, ooh, that's usually not good. And so we come back, and it's got an oily plug, and I go, oh, crap. So it started up, and it's smoking like a freight train. I said, well, it must have knocked out a piston on it. And then
we had no spares.
Yeah, we had no spares. So my natural inclination is, cool, let's go to the hotel and go get something to eat. And he's like, no, I think we can fix it. Why don't we just have one of your guys drive all the way down from Michigan to North Carolina while we're tearing it apart? He can get in a car from Michigan, drive all the way to North Carolina. We'll change the piston in the car, put it all together, and then take off and just drive right straight to Tennessee to the track, which is exactly what we did.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
So it was all tore apart. He showed up like 3 o'clock in the morning or something.
Yeah, and so then I'm putting the engine back together.
So, I slept on a picnic table or whatever there for a few hours, and then that drive's probably the most memorable for the fact that then, and because of the hurricane deal, the route was out. Like there was no route to take. You just had to go, and it was Bristol was the next day. So you just had to get to Bristol. So all we did is GPS stuff, and like the locals say, oh, I'll take this route or whatever. So we take the route, and literally like we're cruising along, no problem. And we're about less than an hour from the track. So, I mean, we're like 30, 40 miles from the track. I don't know, maybe 50 miles. But either way, we stop at a gas station. I still remember going to the gas station, get a cup of coffee. It's whatever. It's almost high fives. Like, hey, all good. We made it. We're just going to go right to the track, ready to make a pass. And then we left there. And next thing you know, the road is super windy, super curvy. Can't figure out why it's so damn curvy.
It is horrendous.
And there's people with cameras on the side of the road, like as we're rolling through or whatever. And it's like, what is all this about or whatever? And finally, like we stopped and somebody pulled over and they're like, man, I can't believe you guys are doing Tail the Dragon with this car. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, another 50 turns or whatever, and you're out of here. Like, oh, great. Yep. So the axle seals are they're pushing fluid out. Obviously, I mean, you're driving with a spool. So a locked rear end that's going around all these corners, just boiling the fuel in the rear end. And it's just coming out and puddling inside the bead locks because they got like a little lip on there. So it's just full of fluid in there. But either way, it took us a while. But we got out of there, went to the track, made our pass, and then whatever. I mean, finished the week, had to drive and all that stuff. But either way, lucky enough we won that week, and then came back 19. 19 was actually the first year for the SMX. So,
Yep, first year for the SMX. So
untested.
Yeah, totally untested.
Barely done in time.
Yeah, I dynoed it. That was it, and then we put it in the car, and then go to the track, and so sorting that all out there, and then that ended up going the first 5 on the last day, last pass.
Yep.
Of drag week, so which was great,
So yeah, not many issues with it other than learning that the SMX, like when it sounds like it's ready to break, usually that's when it's running pretty good.
It's running pretty good.
It's not as smooth running as a big black Chevy. It's a little more angry most of the time.
If it idles terribly bad, that's usually a good indication it's going to run.
So
don't know why. Don't even bother to fix it. I could fix it. I don't, but it's like just leave it alone. It's all right.
But then, because I know that 19, there's all the time that I was just looking at Steve going like, is that okay? Like, that really sounds like it's falling apart. Like, I feel like there's got to be stuff laying behind us.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
So, but yeah, so it was 19, 20 was, 20 didn't happen, and then 21 was COVID, so wasn't there because of that. Well, 20 was a COVID year that it didn't happen. Then 21 didn't get the car from the fire earlier in the year. Back together and done in time to do 21, and because I had COVID 2 weeks before, but that was it. Then come back this year, and Same thing. I mean, we had high aspirations that, hey, we can go run a 5 every day. Should all be good, should be easy. And it was easy the first day. We were off to a great start.
Yep. Off to a great start, and I thought everything was great because it was pretty soft tune. Because we'd already gone when the car got caught on fire. You just distracted me. Don't encourage the dog. So it was. See, now I'm all distracted.
It worked.
Yeah. See.
When the car caught on fire, we were running fives,
we were in run 5s, no problem. In fact, we had made our first 5-second lifting pass. So we were feeling good about stuff, and then the car burns up, and so came back with basically the same tune with different injectors because obviously all those injectors got caught in the fire and burned up. Then they don't make those injectors anymore, so then we had to come up with another injector, and I'm still wanted to try doing it with the OEM style injector just because they're pretty rock solid. The Decas that were in it were really, really super good, but they're not made anymore. You can't get them. Really hard to find. And so tried different set of injectors, go out. Wow, cool. 603, 250, which is right. That's all the right numbers, especially for soft. We only went 408 in the.
I don't even know if it went that quick.
Yeah, I went 410 on the last day. But I think
I think it went 418 or something.
I think it went 408 in the 8th. So going, so it's picking up good in the back half. So everything looked normal. Everything's great. Take all the plugs out that do the street drive, and I see one plug is nipped, and it's like, what in the crap is going on? But the EGT looked okay. Everything looked to be fine. They have determined that then I started really looking at it and determined that, your EGTs are all the way down at the bottom of the port. So you got a port that's right here round like that, and the EGT needs to be up here at the top of the port. EGT was all the way down at the bottom, so it won't read right. It reads cool. So I saw that was going on. It's like, well,
408.
408. No, that's what I said.
I said you're right.
Yeah, no, yeah. So so I started thinking, hopefully we don't have maybe it was just a fluke deal. Everything seems to be fine. Cycle all the injectors, run it on all the injectors. Everything seems to be working fine. It's like, all right, well, let's go to the next track and we'll fix this piston. And so we go to Richie Crampton's, and it's an all freaking nighter because the engine wasn't the problem. Change the piston.
The engine wasn't the problem.
Well, the engine was the problem, but
it wasn't the only problem.
It wasn't the only problem. So it pinched the ringland. We got a video of that. So really minimal damage. In fact, if I would have had one of my jeweler's files, I actually would have fixed the ring groove and put a new ring in it normally if I didn't have a spare. But I had a spare piston, so I put a spare piston in it. Thought we were going to be out of there at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, we're not out of there at 3 o'clock in the morning because then we find out the headers are just broken and junk and just terrible.
Yeah. So I think the lean tune with the injector caused the header welds.
I think the header welds that were broken caused the lean tune that effed everything all up.
Either way, and then Richie just jumps in and he's like, I'm just going to cut them apart and redo them. And I'm like, Richie, that we, no problem. And Richie literally love the guy, but he really thinks that he can accomplish what is humanly takes 8 hours. He thinks he can get done in 1 hour because he's Superman. And actually, he can still get it done, but it takes him 2 hours. So he can't turn 8 hours into 1, but he can turn it into 2.
Yep.
But he got all that stuff fixed up, and literally, we left there. We drove out of there. We drove to our hotel, took a shower, and then went to the track. So
we're up for 24 straight on that deal. Everything seems to be fine.
And we just put the transmission in the night before.
We put the transmission broke the night before. So I think everything's great, and it's like, I'll just be careful. I'm just going to throw 10% more fuel and take a couple degrees of timing out of that cylinder. Go make a pass, and it runs the 8th fine.
Didn't even make it to the 8th.
Oh, it didn't even make it to the 8th, and that thing is smoking, and it's just terrible. And comes back, and it has killed 2 spark plugs now, one on one bank and that same one. And it's like, look, there's got to be some kind of problem here. Something picks on one cylinder. And everything else looks great. It's typically it's not a tune-up issue. It's a individual cylinder issue, and so it's like it's got to be these injectors. There's got to be something wrong. Something is going on. Then you got the whole Swedish contingent of people. They all come over and start going, can't run that freaking injector because we've run that injector, and that injector is a POS. I'm telling you right now that the the methanol affects it, and it's going to work, stop working, work, stop working. You need to get rid of those. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that makes sense. It's no problem. So, but now we're going to have to fix 2 pistons in this thing. So, hey, it sounds cool. Let's drive back over to Richie Crampton's and swap out 2 more pistons.
I call Richie at like 10:30, and I'm like, hey, you up and back at the shop? He's like, no, I'm still in bed, just getting up, because obviously Ricky pulled the all-nighter with us. And I said, well,
but
while
he got to sleep.
And I said, while you were sleeping, we heard 2 more pistons, so we need to come back to the shop and tear this all apart again. And Richie's like, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like, and whatever. And it took us longer than that, obviously, to get there, to get everything packed up and get over there. But so Richie was game for another. This one wasn't an all-nighter, at least. So
yeah, no, I think we left there at
a little after midnight. We had to make a new wiring harness because the injectors took different.
The injector's different.
And all thanks Eric HPL, because he put 2 sets of injectors together for us and put a guy in the truck and drove them to us at Richie's shop so that we could put them in there.
Yeah.
So
I put them in there. Tom had to make that wiring harness. So all you guys that hate
Me
those
and Richie.
solder, yeah, it looks
with an acetylene torch to melt.
There's 2 guys. Tom's sitting there holding wires together. Richie's holding a torch underneath it.
But it did work.
It looked really stupid.
It worked though.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised it did, but it did.
It did work. Yeah.
And so we're still at Richie's shop. So then we had 300 miles to drive. So we left Richie's shop at a little bit like 12:31 or something, and drove the route, hit the checkpoints or whatever. We walk into the hotel at like 4:30 in the morning, get to the hotel, sleep for 2 hours, get up at 6:30, take a shower, head to the track, or start to head to the track. And then on the way to the track, like all of a sudden I hear a clunk or whatever, and then I see in the rearview mirror, I see the trailer. I'm like, Steve, the trailer. And Steve's like, what? Oh, because when we were welding on the chassis and we didn't unhook the headphones or the headsets, so that broke. Luckily, it was
burned up the headsets.
Yeah, so those didn't work anymore. So we just wore them like is to keep the sound down. But I'm like, trailer. And he's like, what? And I'm trying to get out of the way because I don't want to get hit by the trailer. And then he's like, well, just back up to it. And then he gets out or whatever. And then I start to back up. He's like, stop. Like
the whole tongue. So the tongue was still attached to the car, and the tongue had broken off of the trailer, and so it's just dangling there. And it's got all the wires and everything. And I go, that's
like
cool.
An umbilical cord.
Yeah, no, I go, that's cool. It's just like the Terminator. I held it up and I'm like, look, it's like somebody just like the Terminator pulled the spine out of a robot. And it's like holding it up there and the wires are all dangling down. I thought it looked cool.
It was cool looking. So then we had to sort that out and call a rollback to put the trailer on, take it, because we were 5 miles from the track. And we had to get to the track to make a pass. And then.
So I was questioning about that. So since. My opinion on that whole deal is since there was nothing wrong with the car and nothing wrong with the hitch, the trailer physically could not be moved. You could not move there was no tongue on the freaking trailer. You could not do anything with the trailer. The trailer was abandoned in the middle of the road. So it wasn't like the Swedes had the trailer come off. Well, you got to pull it back on, and it damages it and whatever. And then they broke the hitch off of the car. You got to pull it around and you got to go weld it and you got to go do that. But the freaking trailer is in the middle of the road with no capability of being repaired there. I mean, it wasn't related to the car. So call Turk up. Turk says, put it on a flatbed and bring it in and fix it at the track. Because you could not, there was no possible way of getting the trailer any other way than on a flatbed. There was no other way.
And I did call to make sure, hey, this is the plan.
Before you did it. Yeah,
I want to make sure that this is legit. So that, like, whatever, because they didn't want to get in trouble for something or whatever, do something that did break the rules. So, so either way, get there and, like, give it to Fast Eddie or whatever. Like, we get there, and Eddie's local to that area, and he's Johnny on the spot. He's like, oh, I got a fab guy or whatever. Do you want me to have him look at it? Yep, have him look at it. He's like, I got a wiring guy. I can probably fix it. Yeah, have him look at it. Like, he can fix the wiring. And then he had a welder or whatever, and I'm like, yep. I'm like, Eddie, whatever. You're in charge. You're the.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. Eddie comes up to ask me questions, and I just look at him and go, just handle it, dude. Turned around, just left. Let's walk away. I don't care. Just go fix the trailer.
So, but Eddie was a lifesaver there. We were able to deal with all the car issues and everything like that, and that was was that the first day of the throttle cable issue, or? I mean, we definitely had the throttle cable issue,
yeah.
But it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, so you got to back up. So the second time we go, where was it the first time? I don't know. One of the times we were at Richie Crampton's shop, within the 400 hours that we were there, one of those hours we'd figured out that the throttle cable was hitting on the header and had burned up and was locked up. So the one cable we had on it was dead on lock. It was the first day. It was the first time we were there.
Yeah, exactly, because it was after the long drive. Like, that wouldn't happen from the track back to Richie's, like the 10 miles or whatever it is.
So we had to replace the throttle cable. Richie didn't have the right throttle cable for it, so we're trying to use a pull cable on a push, and it just did not work well. And then it got worse and worse and worse, and it wouldn't open up the throttle all the way. And then because it's a pull cable, it would, as you're pushing it, it would actually, I think it actually compresses somehow or something, because it would not
didn't have strength.
Yeah, it didn't have the strength to push, and so it just got progressively worse. So we we fix it the second day, which is all the same day.
Well, yeah, we'd fix it that day, but then it kind of worked initially. It worked enough. It worked enough that it worked for the drive, like the day 2 on the track, the drive to the next track to Byron. It worked on the pass at Byron. It was just sticky, like it just didn't return as well as you wanted to. I mean, it still wouldn't go full throttle, but we weren't even able to go to the full throttle part because we were just trying to make it through. And then, but it really reared its head on the drive from Byron to Cordova, because then it was just like the return was gone in it completely. And literally it was like cruise control. You just actually put your foot where you wanted it at, and then you could take your foot off. It stayed wherever you put the throttle pedal. So it was that stuck. And so then Cordova, the next day at Cordova, kind of same thing. It's like everything else was pretty good except that throttle cable issue. And I'll make a pass, and I'm like, oh, it was all over the place or whatever. And then I was full throttle, didn't even make it to the 8th. And then Steve's looking at the data, and the TPS is going anywhere from 60% to 90%. It wouldn't go 100%. We already knew that. But it was going between 60 to 90% on the run, even though the pedal was all the way down. So
it was going from 90% to 60%. So as it was going down the track, it was going down the track, and it was closing the throttle blades. And so you didn't make a full pass at Byron, pulled the chutes early.
I did at Indy too.
Yeah.
Indy it broke, but I pulled the chutes at 8th mile when it broke.
Yeah. It went 683 there, or was it Byron?
No, it went, I mean, it's 6 something or whatever at 90 some miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. And then Byron, it went a 6 something with pulling the chutes at the 8th mile, and then.
But then I made another pass, and I didn't pull the chutes at the 8th mile because we made 2 passes at Byron.
Did we? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we made the second one. I didn't pull the chutes till the end.
All right.
So.
And then okay, that's right. And then till the end. No, it wasn't even quite. Well, whatever.
It was close. It was close enough.
And then we make it to Cordova, and then.
I pulled the chutes at the finish line.
Yes, the wrong finish line, and everybody on the starting line, because everybody knows now that Tom's going to pull the chutes early. Nobody knows why. They just he pulled the chute, and all the little Swedish contingents up there. What did he pull the chutes for? I thought you told him not to pull the chutes. I didn't tell him not to pull the chutes. I don't know why he's pulling the chutes. Maybe there's something wrong with the car or something. I don't know. And he comes back, all happy-go-lucky. No, I made full pass to the 8th mile.
No, I told you that.
I know you did.
Yeah, I told you that because I pulled the chutes saying, oh, wait till because whatever. Same thing, cars like whatever, all over the place. All over the place just because of the throttle thing, not all over the place on the track or whatever. So then I'm like, oh, well, I'll wait till I hit the finish line. I'll pull the chutes. I see the finish line. I pull the chutes. Then as I'm slowing down, I see another finish line, and I'm like, oh, so you're gonna be mad because I pulled the wrong finish line. So
it probably would have been a good pass. So.
But either way, and then because of all the throttle issues, we're like, we're not going to make another pass. We knew that, at that point, Michael with the S10, he wasn't that far behind us, but in our mind, we knew as long as we can get this, because we had a throttle cable, Richie was getting a throttle cable made in Indy, and then Finnegan was bringing it to St. Louis, so we we're going to have that throttle cable the next day. We feel like we were down that was just our last issue. So we knew that, okay, well, we get all that stuff or whatever, we can make a good pass tomorrow, and then all will be good. We don't have to worry about the small numbers or whatever right now. And so we left that track, and I was actually hoping Michael with the S10 would have taken the lead, because I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. He takes the lead, and then we take it back tomorrow, like when we get to make that full pass. Obviously didn't know anything about a rain forecast.
It's like dangling the carrot in front of him.
So,
oh, good job, Mike.
Yeah,
and
then
you take it away.
So, but
that was the plan.
So,
and I like my.
So luckily for us, he didn't make another pass and take the lead, because then we go there and it's like looking like rain, but they're saying it's going to rain in the afternoon at St. Louis the next day. We got our throttle cable, which actually from the
Oscoda.
It's not Oscoda. What is it? Is it called an Oscoda? No.
I don't know. Is it
Alcona?
Oscoda. It's the other Swede. Thank you very much, because he gave us the correct cable for it.
Yeah, the same one that we had before.
Yeah, they're like the original.
Ascona.
Works like a dream.
Isn't it Ascona? I think it's not.
It's some kind of Swedish name.
Ascona. I can never remember the name of the car, but the black car, cool car. Magnus drives it, and but they had a spare. They brought it. We put that on, and then
perfect.
we get everything together. We go up there. We make our pass. We go 605, and it's still 1,000 foot or whatever. Like still acted up, which intake manifold blew out the O-ring in the intake manifold.
Yeah. So the thing's down. So it goes 605, 244. And it's like, it should have went 250.
I didn't throw the chutes early.
Yeah, and he didn't even throw the chutes. So I said, oh crap, it's actually unless you lifted, it's a little off, because it had a couple little puffs, but it didn't look real bad. And then it took him a while to drive back. So it drives back, and it's like, oh, that thing is definitely down a couple cylinders. So I didn't think it was really hurt, and it's not really hurt bad, but pull out 2 different spark plugs all of a sudden are nipped, and the rest of them look like fat and happy and nice. And it's like, what the crap is going on? And then he actually found it. He goes, well, look. He says, the bolts are out of the top of the manifold lid, and that O-ring blew out right there. And so then you could look at it, and I'll actually show this later on one of my videos as we tear it apart. It actually, what happened is it blew the top of the manifold, comes up, it separates because it was loose, just vibrated loose over 5 days. Blows the O-ring out. When it blew the O-ring out, it blows all that boost, all that hot air, and that hot air draws the fuel just like a siphon. So it siphons the fuel out of the 2 cylinders that it happened right above. And it was so hot, it actually even torched the top of the injectors. It was so hot. So, or it was on fire. I'm not sure. Hopefully it wasn't on fire, but anyway, it was hot enough to actually torch the injectors, siphons the fuel out of it, makes those 2 cylinders go lean. Those 2 cylinders were the ones that burned up. Everybody else is all fat and happy. And it's like, well, and then all of a sudden it started raining, so we were all done anyways. But they didn't even count that pass because not everybody,
But either way, whatever, that 605, 244, whatever on the last day was enough to cap it. And then then the rain came, and then we were glad Michael didn't make the other pass on the other day, because that would have let him win the event and whatever. So we ended up with a win. So
yep,
that's the long, short story. Take you through all the years of Drag Week and give you the history. A lot of people always ask questions about it, and obviously, I mean, that's the quick version. I mean, there's obviously a lot more details in there that go with all of those problems and those nights and those sleepless nights. But this week, or this Drag Week, by far, to me, and I still don't know if it's just because it's more fresh, but it was still the hardest one as far as day to day. Not track stuff. Everything else we had to do outside of the track.
Yeah. Normally these things you got to work on. I mean, it just is what it is. But there's a lot of working on it.
So,
a lot more normal, and just everything was just happening, and we just take it. It just is what it is. You just keep on going. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and any day when we've had horrible stuff too, usually it never happens on the first day. So, I mean, here it just started out day 1. It's usually day 3. You're like, it's midweek.
It was day 0 because broke the transmission on day 0.
Yeah, transmission, and I mean, that was the whole thing too. I mean, we broke that testing Saturday night, and then it had to go to Rosler. So, I mean, that was it. We got the transmission back thanks to Joe Barry and Nick Taylor for getting that to Rosler and back to us. But I mean, we put it in 10:30 Sunday night to then race Monday morning, and then our Monday turns into 24 hours. Our Tuesday turns into 22 hours.
22 hours.
And then Wednesday we did sleep, I think. Wednesday
yeah,
night.
The rest of the week we
Yeah.
made the hotel and did everything pretty well. So,
But even with still issues going on, but end of the week, we thought we solved the issue. We solved it for 1,000 feet, enough to make a good pass, and then it wasn't solved anymore. But now we get ready for sick week, get that stuff together, get ready, and do it all again. Except this time, Steve's taking the wagon. I saw Kyle talking about the Mustang. So is Kyle.
Kyle's gonna take the Mustang. I'm taking the wagon. We're gonna go out testing here maybe next weekend, I think, with the wagon. So
get ready.
Be all ready for sick week. Yeah, make sure you're there.
So be there. Be square.
Be there. Watch it. Hit it every time an ad comes up. Hit the ad, and then keep watching.
There you go.
And then restart it again, and then just leave. So then it's playing in the background, and you're not even watching it anymore.
Yeah, the experience usually best on 3 TVs at the same time.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yep. Phone.
But yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks. Peace out.